maybe this follow-up question is, why do you have a Nairobi office?
Yeah.
We have a Nairobi office for many reasons. Number one is the UK was where we were starting. And the first country that gave us permission to send money to it was actually Kenya. Okay. So that is true.
Okay.
And so while I was waiting for permission from the Central Bank of Tanzania, we got our approvals in Kenya. So
how long did you have to wait for the Tanzanian to give you approval?
Tanzania probably took a year and a half.
Okay, in Kenya?
Like 2 months or 3 months.
Wow.
So, as a tech company, time is your enemy.
Indeed.
And so speed wins in tech companies. So you don't have time. And so when you need to get something live to prove that the business model can maybe work, you need to just ship and get something live. So we said, let's start with the product going live in Kenya. So we started doing transfers from the UK to Kenya while I'm waiting for my Tanzanian approval. And then now you have to think about it. Now your Kenyan user base is growing in the UK. So now you have to support the Kenyan audience. Now you have to build a customer support center. Now, remember, with customer support for a cross-border payments company, you have to support English, while also other local languages. So if I start building a customer support center in Tanzania, where English prevalence is not as high as Kenya, or where the mandatory literacy rate for English, for quality English, is very different from Tanzania, that's the truth. And the cost of hiring people to speak that level of English was going to be very expensive compared to hiring in Kenya, where it's a lot more normalized and everywhere around and more available. So I think that was one of the factors. First one was market factors that were out of my control, so where we got first approvals. Second factor was our customer base, which was primarily Kenyans in the UK. Third factor was English as we think about scaling. So imagine if I launch UK to Nigeria and I have Tanzanians responding on customer support versus Kenyans who natively grow up speaking English so I have to think about what's best for the business at that point. And so initially I was like, okay, cool, let's put some operational people on customer support, payment operations in Nairobi, and let's see how it grows. And slowly the team started growing from there.
Okay, so based on that, it means that inevitably, regardless whether you would have gotten the approval much earlier from the central bank, your primary customer base wouldn't have been in Tanzania, just on the dynamics that you've mentioned about the language barrier and whatnot.
Yeah, well, I think initially because you get your approval there, you start like, okay, when you build a company, you focus on your customer, right? So what is your customer's biggest need? What is your customer's biggest want? How are you building the business around that customer just to survive as a company, right? And so if Tanzania had given me approval first, we probably would have had more people working in Tanzania and a larger office in Tanzania for sure.
Okay.
But, and maybe over time, we would probably be able to have, maybe open a Kenya office because English and other things like that, and also connectivity, regional connectivity. There's more flights to Nairobi than there is to Dar es Salaam.